Now we're going to do an overview of revenue recognition. And the reason I say overview is I'm not an accountant, and this is just to give you a basic look and feel of how the monies are slotted respective of the processes that are occurring for post-billing. So we're in revenue accounting under revenue management, and if I'm in post-billing, for a post-billing transaction prior to acceptance, on the bottom region you'll see that I'm in line distributions. And you'll see that on GL date, February 17th, I have a certain amount applied to the unearned revenue account for this transaction because it's post-billing. If I update my selection list and select the line revenue contingencies, this will show me if I have something that is preventing my revenue from being moved or updated. So it gives me my contingency name, the description, my removal event, your event attribute, if there's an expiration value, and your estimated expiration date. So it's saying, okay, you do have a contingency and we expect it to expire on the 18th. So as a user, that would be helpful because then I would say, okay, well, this most likely the revenue will be reclassed tomorrow then, or on the 18th, depending on what day it is. If I'm looking at a transaction for post-billing after the acceptance, you'll see that I have additional distributions on my record. It shows my original unearned revenue transaction, my new unearned revenue transaction, and then the appropriate revenue allotment for the reclass when the revenue contingency analyzer is run to update the records. Okay? And from here, if I look at the revenue contingencies now, it shows me that my contingency was removed on February 17th. So someone went in and explicitly accepted this transaction, and that's what updated my records. If we're looking at the same transaction on the transaction side, i.e. invoice side, if I look at my accounting for all my lines on my invoice, you can see that it shows your revenue monies and then your two debits and credits, to wash each other on your unearned revenue lines. If we had shown this prior to the acceptance being completed, you would not see the revenue and you would only see the original unearned revenue slot. Well, you've made it to the final frontier. Now we're just going to go over just some summary topics and things to keep in mind if you elect to deploy the customer acceptance functionality in Release 12. The explicit and implicit acceptances are supported with standard functionality. There's additional setups that are required, but they come standard. Nothing fancy needs to be done. The revenue contingencies, i.e. deferral reasons, and acceptance names cannot be assigned to transaction lines that have deferred accounting rules. In addition, the revenue contingencies, deferral reasons, acceptance names, and their related event attributes are set up in AR revenue management, but they're completely enforced in order management, depending on the additional setups being completed. The customer acceptance data defaults as a result of order management calling the AR API based on the revenue contingencies associated assignment rules, not traditional order management defaulting rules. And once the AR API applies the revenue contingency acceptance data based on the assignment rules to the sales order line, it will remain applied until it's manually removed or changed if that's even applicable. Additionally, the most critical setup to get this functionality deployed is the OM system parameter of Enable Fulfillment Acceptance. If this parameter is set to no or null, no customer acceptance functionality will occur at all. The AR API will not be called to invoke the related AR revenue contingency defaults, even if the revenue contingency assignment rules are set up. Nothing will happen. The setups will be done apparently just for fun. When acceptance is completed in the AR revenue management revenue accounting form, there is no update, manual or programmatic, to the related sales order management lines. There's notifications that are sent if the acceptance is done on the AR revenue management side as a reminder to also complete the acceptance for that sales order line in order management via OIP. The fields of earliest and latest acceptable date are still only used for sales order line calculations and scheduling. Finally, there's some constraints with the current release of customer acceptance. It only supports full acceptance or rejection for outbound order lines. You cannot perform customer acceptance processing with returns, internal, or retro bill orders. And the ship confirmed date is the only event attribute supported for revenue contingencies with customer acceptance. This functionality is very extensible in terms that it has support for many item types, such as standard, service, ATO and PTO model, and PTO kits. The thing to keep in mind for the service, the ATO, PTO model, and PTO kits, i.e. bill of material type items, is your acceptance contingency is defined at the parent level, and your child lines inherit the acceptance information from the parent. That concludes this presentation provided to you by DART Corporation. Thank you very much for taking the time to come and listen. Again, I'm Michelle Taylor, and if you have any questions or comments, you can contact us at sales@darc.com, or you can call us toll-free at 877-476-7151. And again, thank you.